Hi, folks. Welcome back. Today I'm going to break from the order that I was following in making these videos because of something that happened to me this week. And I want to begin this by reading out of Daniel chapter 3. And I get my old man specs for this, verses 21 to 27. This is a time when the Israelites in captivity in Babylon under King Nebuchadnezzar, and he gave out the rules that everybody was supposed to bow down and worship him. But some of the brave folks wouldn't do that. And this story that I'm going to read you here is in reference to three of those: Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. And the penalty for not doing this was to be thrown into the furnace of fire and to be burned up. So let me read you here. This is Daniel chapter 3, verses 21 to 27. Starts like this. So these men, wearing their robes, trousers, turbans, and other clothes, were bound and thrown into the blazing furnace. The king's command was so urgent, the furnace was so hot, that the flames of the fire killed the soldiers who took up Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. And these three men, firmly tied, fell into the blazing furnace. Then King Nebuchadnezzar leaped to his feet in amazement and asked his advisers, "Weren't there three men that we tied up and threw into the fire?" They replied, "Certainly, O king." He said, "Look, I see four men walking around in the fire, unbound and unharmed, and the fourth looks like a son of the gods." Nebuchadnezzar then approached the opening of the blazing furnace and shouted, "Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, servants of the Most High God, come out, come here." So Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego came out of the fire, and the satraps, prefects, and governors and royal advisers crowded around them. They saw that the fire had not harmed their bodies, nor was a hair of their heads singed. Their robes were not scorched, and there was no smell of fire on them. So now let me tell you what happened to me a couple days ago. I was pulling out from my school at the end of the day, and at the end of the property, pulling out onto the main road, and at the end of the property borders a side road. I was traveling west, and this side road cuts across going north and south, and there was a car waiting at the intersection. The north and south roads have a stop sign. Mine, the road I was on, does not. It's the main thoroughfare through there. So the car that was waiting on the south end, waiting to go across and go north, went after, and I believe they may have stopped and then just didn't see me. And they accelerated across, and I got T-boned on the driver's side. And the thank God for the side impact airbags on that car, because my head probably would have gone right through that window. But my body got slammed into the side of the door, and the damage afterwards, as of right now, we're being told that the car was totaled. The axle broke. All the what do you call? I can't remember what they're called, but the bits that the tie rods, is that what they're called? I think the bits that hold the wheels on and keep them straight. Those were all busted up, and the car was really messed up. But here's what I want to tell you: I got out and walked away from that. I'm a little sore from it, still got a little bit of a headache, but other than that, I just walked away. And the question the question I've been asking the last couple of days is, why didn't I end up in the hospital? Or why wasn't I killed? I got hit by a Mercedes Benz, And those cars are like tanks if you know how they're made. And I got hit pretty hard. I've never been hit or been in an accident where I've been hit that hard before. So, question I want to ask is, how do you explain stories like this? And I want to read you one more passage from Genesis chapter 1. This is 26 to 31. And it says this: Then God said, Let us make man in our image, in our likeness, and let them rule over the fish of the sea and the birds of the air, over the livestock, over all the earth, and over all the creatures that move along the ground. So God created man in his own image. In the image of God he created them. Male and female he created them. God blessed them and said to them, Be fruitful and increase in number. Fill the earth and subdue it. Rule over the fish of the sea and the birds of the air, and over every living creature that moves on the ground. And then God said, I give you every seed-bearing plant on the face of the whole earth, and every tree that has fruit with seed in it. They will be yours for food. And to all the beasts of the earth, and all the birds of the air, and all the creatures that move along the ground, everything that has breath of life in it, has the breath of life in it, I give every green plant for food. And it was so. God saw all that he had made, and it was very good. And there was evening, and there was morning, the sixth day. One thing I want to point out to you here, if you read through the creation account, all the other days, everything else that he made, you'll notice it says, and God saw that it was good. But after he made man, notice that it says God saw that it was very good. And to me, what that speaks right there is about how special we are. We are all special creations. We have been created in the very image of God. The fact is that we've been designed by the mighty hand of God. Why wasn't I killed? Why wasn't I at the very least in the hospital or injured or something? Because I'm special. And God and his angels protected me because of that. And here's the thing that I want to get at. It's not just me. We all have stories like this. We can all point to times in our lives where something beyond the natural happened to us that has no rational explanation. And the reason is because we are all special. Genesis 1:26 to 31 that I just read tells us this fact, and our experiences show us this fact. God designed us to have a relationship with him. We were created in God's image, and God is all about relationship. God made us special in all that he created because he made us in his image. We were designed to have a relationship with him, and that is truly special indeed. And this points to another topic that refutes the possibility of evolution, that being human behavior. The fact is that we all know that we're special. And if you don't believe me, that people really do know that they're special, just watch the way that people speak and act. If you don't believe me, just watch the way they drive, with oftentimes complete disregard for the laws and the speed limits, or the way they cross the street, walking out right in front of you, expecting that you will stop for them, or when people fall in love, all the energy that they devote to making sure the person that they love knows how special they are. Or when they have a child, devoting their lives to care for their child and give him or her the best that they possibly can. are selecting a gift for someone, making sure they're getting just the right gift that shows that person just how special they think they are. Or when someone gets lost and people are frantically trying to find them, they'll put everything else on hold and not stop until they do find them. Or that they are the extent that people go through to provide and care for their loved ones, oftentimes sacrificially providing for their needs and well-being. Or here's one that you just watch this one next time. Watch the next time anybody has to wait in a line. You'll see people getting impatient, getting upset, doing all they can to move up faster or go around the line or whatever, because they're special and they don't deserve to have to wait. Or when they experience any form of mistreatment, unfairness, injustice, whether it's actual or perceived, people will go to whatever steps necessary, such as lawsuits, media coverage, and even times criminal behavior, to ensure that they get the justice, amends, restitution, or compensation that they feel that they deserve. Or how about the way people dress? You look at the fashions that people wear, or the latest craze now with all the tattoos everybody's getting. Or have you noticed the extreme hair colors that we see nowadays? All of this to show how special they are. Or the way that people talk, similar type of thing there, where they're using their own lingo, expressions, whatever, to show how cool they are, right? How important they are. And on and on and on, we could keep going with this. If you look at all of this, you see that people really do know how special they are, and they act that way. I love the story that's told of the night before the Battle of Gettysburg. And General Robert E. Lee's generals are sitting around the campfire and they're talking. Well, actually, they were probably sitting around singing a campfire song. And those of you who love SpongeBob like I do, you'll get that one. But anyway, one of Lee's generals starts to talk about his belief in evolution. And after this discussion proceeds for a while, another general responds and tells him this: "You may think you came from an ape, but I dare you to go tell General Lee that he came from an ape." If people didn't think they were special, people wouldn't act and speak the way that they do. If people really were a product of randomness, they wouldn't be driven to speak or to act in a way that displays just how truly special they are. Another good example is how people respond when a friend or loved one passes away. Nobody wants to believe that their friend or loved one just went into nothingness. Nobody wants to believe that their friend or loved one simply vanished and is not continuing to live somewhere else. Such a thought is extremely troubling, and it's simply too much to bear. Such a thought is extremely troubling and too much to bear because not only were we designed for a relationship with God, we were designed for an eternal relationship with God. Such a thought like that is extremely troubling and too much to bear because we know it in our eternal spirit. It's our eternal spirit that tells us so. It's our eternal spirit that tells us we were created special by God and we are not products of randomness. Now, evolutionary scientists have tried to explain human behavior in purely Darwinian terms. They would argue that Darwin's theory of natural selection can explain our behavior based on our ancestors' struggle to survive and pass along their genes. In evolutionary terms, we should only be concerned about passing along our own genetic lineage. But what about adoption? This behavior totally contradicts such an argument. A couple who adopts a child is devoting themselves to allowing someone else's genes to be passed on to the next generation instead of their own. Abortion also totally contradicts such an argument. Voluntarily killing our own babies, our own genetic line, is unheard of in the animal kingdom. It eliminates the possibility of passing along one's own genes to future generations. This is completely counter to how we would feel if we were products of evolution. The irony here is that this mentality is directly linked to the belief in evolution, where we have nobody to answer to for our actions. And kind of just as a side note here, I've always found it interesting that women say that women who are pro-abortion have long used the argument that they can do whatever they want with their own body. But since about half of the babies born are males, that completely destroys the notion that a fetus is a part of a female's body. The drive to pass along one's own genetic lineage is deeply rooted in the animal kingdom. For example, when a new alpha male takes over a pride of lions, it will kill any existing cubs that were sired by the previous alpha male. It does all it can to pass along its own genetics and not those of any other male lion. The human behaviors of adoption and abortion completely delineate us from the rest of the animal kingdom, and they display how unique and how special we are. But it doesn't end with just these two behaviors. What about all the other types of exemplary behaviors, in addition to adoption, and fallen behaviors in addition to abortion? For example, regarding the fallen behaviors, humans are the only animals that commit murder. If we end the life of another species of animal, we're killing it. But if we end the life of another human, we're murdering them. Only humans experience this. Animals simply live off of instinct. Killing for them is not emotional. It's emotionally neutral. It's not good or bad. It's just what they do to survive. It's like going to the store and buying a gallon of milk. But humans are the only species who can choose to act this way and experience an emotional side to it. And then you have the other side of the coin. Behaviors that exhibit positive emotions. Things like compassion, love, forgiveness, consideration, thoughtfulness, thankfulness, passion, mercy, etc. Those things are all unique and special to humans. These types of behaviors go way beyond the supposed evolutionary drive to survive and pass along our own genes. These types of behavior, the ones that Abraham Lincoln called the better angels of our nature, simply cannot be explained by evolution because they scream of something more than just existing. Evolution wouldn't care or get emotionally involved. It would just march on, continuing to create the new species that are the best to survive. If evolution was true, you have no purpose or value beyond surviving and passing along your own genetic lineage. Have you ever seen animals get together and rally for some cause or some purpose? Human behavior only proves that people are truly special and different from the rest of life on this planet. Humans do have value and worth beyond that described in evolutionary terms. There is no denying that. Having value and purpose, as well as the other positive emotions that I mentioned, are indeed unique and special to humans. That's why when we're living in the absence of these emotions, when we feel unloved, unaccepted, or like our life is without purpose and value, we feel it deep inside. Deep down, we know that it's not right. Whether people want to publicly admit it or not is irrelevant, because we all experience it when things are going awry. This is also why we'll go to great lengths to pursue things like love, compassion, forgiveness, acceptance, value, and purpose. It's so much a part of us because it was literally designed into us. God created us for a relationship so we can experience such positive emotions. Positive emotions like these can only come from God because we're made in His image. And these characteristics, they're a part of His image. We were created for a relationship so we can feel valued, loved, accepted, and have a purpose. He created us for a relationship with Him, first and foremost, but also for relationships with each other here on earth. Human behavior and our being designed for relationship say there is something special about us. Humans are the only life forms out there that experience all these things. And we're the only life forms that were designed to have a relationship with God and with each other, which is why, without it, we feel lost and alone. Humans are indeed truly special. And this may be the strongest evidence of all as to why evolution simply could not have happened, because it's something that we all feel inside. Deep down, we all know we're special. Whether or not we choose to openly admit it, inside we all know we're special. We all know we're unique, one of a kind, irreplaceable, wondrous, and extraordinary. Even Barney the dinosaur knows that we're special. And I got you singing that song now, don't I? Right? 'Cause we're special, right? Yeah. Oh. And now think about it. I managed to get Barney and SpongeBob in the same video. And that's a serious accomplishment right there. Oh, man. But you and I both know that sometimes people do get hurt. And sometimes people do die, right? Some people, like my mom, get sick and they die. Even though we're special, we don't live forever, and we all experience pain. People experience hard times every day, and people die every day. The fact is, from the moment we're born, we're on the clock. We only have so much time here on earth. And until the rapture comes, that's the only way out of life, through death. And that, folks, brings up another topic that I want to discuss further. And so, in the interest of time, I'm going to end this video here and pick it up with that in the next one. So come on back for that. And if you like what you hear, give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. Thank you very much for watching. And as always, we'll leave the light on for you.